This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you by BitRefill. BitRefill is the best way to spend your crypto in Latin America. Purchase gift cards or mobile refills from more than 3,500 brands in 186 countries instantly, safely, and privately. Visit bitrefill.com for more information. Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Today, our guest is Dakota Robertson. He's a money Twitter icon. And I haven't seen him since we got off that Chiva bus in Panama about 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's one of the defining features of Latin America is those damn Chiva buses. This shit's crazy.
Could you explain what a Chiva bus is to the audience?
Yeah, so it's basically a school bus that went on the show Pimp My Ride, and they just turned it into a bus with no seats. So you got just like a ton of people on it, like 40 people on it, depending on which one you go. And they got a bartender. You just take unlimited drinks, and they're playing loud ass music, and they're just driving around. Everyone's just drinking on this bus.
All you can
It
drink.
is all you can drink. It was like $8 a ride or something. It's just ridiculous. You just get trashed on these buses, and it's interesting.
Yeah, so thank you for inviting me to that, because that was my first Chiva bus as well in Panama City, and that definitely a must for anyone that visits Panama.
Yeah. Just be warned. They don't really stop for pee breaks. You only get one, so use it wisely.
So Dakota Robertson, for the audience, for people that don't know, on Twitter, you're at about 255,000, which is pretty crazy. And I actually didn't know this until I was preparing for the episode, but you're at 219,000 on Instagram as well. I had no idea you were so big on Instagram.
Yeah, and only 45,000 on LinkedIn. Kind of a LinkedIn influencer. Let's connect. Yeah, I've been scaling it. I just started YouTube as well 3 months ago, so trying to go multi-dimensional.
And you're a copywriter, ghostwriter, entrepreneur. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is you do?
Yeah, so I started out as a ghostwriter because, well, originally I was going to be a copywriter because I was going to be like, oh, I'll just create landing pages for people and help them sell more stuff. But I was also creating or building my Twitter brand at the time. And I was looking at this new industry, ghostwriting, because my friend JK was talking about it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, I could be a copywriter and be a big fish in a small pond, or sorry, small fish in a big pond, or I could be a ghostwriter and be a big fish in a small pond because there's not much competition. And, I'm fairly decent at growing my audience at that point. So let me offer it as a service to other people. So I started doing that, growing other people's social media accounts by creating content for them under their name and brand and their voice, and grew that, scaled that business up. And then after a year of doing that, I created a Done With You coaching program where I show people how to build a business doing what I did, and scaled that up. So yeah, I would say I'm like a content marketer. I understand social media a decent amount, so I just apply that to my own and show other people how to do that with theirs using storytelling, writing, copywriting, marketing, like a mix of everything, and help people develop their own sauce.
So I need to know, how the hell did you actually get to 255K on Twitter? Because that's like enormous for a non-celebrity. You're bigger than J.K. Molina, I think. You're bigger than Lawrence King. How'd you do that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I started September of 2020, and those guys, I looked up to them like, these guys are huge and all this, and they really helped me a lot. Like I bought their courses and it really helped me. I listened to it while I was doing delivery deliveries as a Domino's pizza driver, trying to learn the game. Um, but really, it came down to studying writing and applying it to big ideas that were aligned with people's interests. So I think the big reason why a lot of people struggle on social media is it's like business. If you don't have something valuable to offer, then you're not going to grow. As well, if you have something valuable to offer, but your TAM, your total addressable market, is small, it's going to be hard to grow. So I was fortunate where I chose a niche, writing, something valuable I had to offer. And then the total addressable market for that, a lot of people want to learn to write. So my content was just primed to grow. Like a lot of people, they create content where it's harder to grow. And it's not because they're shitty at writing. It's just maybe the TAM is just small, or I don't know, a whole myriad of reasons. I just was fortunate to be learning writing, so it improved my content quality. People wanted to learn the subject, and a lot of people wanted to learn it. So I created a lot of writing content, a lot of actionable advice. Like that's the biggest thing with social media. A lot of people are creating what I call fortune cookie content. So it sounds good, sure it gets likes, but at the end of the day, nobody is going to buy anything from you. A lot of people won't follow you. They'll like your stuff, but you
Is
don't
this
give
what you
them.
call a pleasantry? Some people call it that.
They call
Or
it
what do they call it?
platitudes.
A platitude.
Platitudes.
Is
I
that
like
your
pleasantries though.
okay?
Dropping some pleasantries on the timeline. But yeah, they're
Okay, so you
platitudes.
call the platitudes a fortune cookie.
Yeah, like fortune cookie content is my cute way of saying it. I still create fortune cookie content, but alongside that I create authority building content. So actionable stuff that either solves people's problems or moves them toward a desired outcome. For example, if I'm a fitness account, I'm going to think about, okay, what are all the problems my target demographic has, and how can I be the bridge? How can my content be the bridge from pain point to desired outcome? Because I'm providing value and I'm showing that I'm competent at what I speak about. So who are they going to go to when they want to get that problem solved? Oh, this person's always dropping nutrition hacks and really valuable information. I actually want to lose some weight for the New Year's and get this going. Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to the person that's been delivering all this value, who you trust. And when you create that content, you really accelerate that process. So I think that was a big reason why I grew, is because I was creating a lot of actionable content, as well as incorporating personal content where I was sharing stories, my opinions on stuff. And that really built up that likability. So built up the likability with the personal content, built up the trust with the authority content. You combine the two, and yeah, you have a recipe for growth. And I was just consistent. Most people aren't consistent. They'll just do stuff for 2 weeks and give up. I just did it for years.
Hmm. I hope the audience doesn't mind if we nerd out about Twitter a fair amount on this episode, and I guess we'll weave that in with your hero's journey and a bunch of other stuff, travel stuff, etc. But my audience is largely Twitter. Yours is Twitter, and I guess Instagram apparently too. But
Surprise. And
uh,
OnlyFans.
but
Surprise.
I think some up and coming accounts are probably listening to this, and people who want to grow on Twitter, and we can probably hit them with some actionable advice, as you say. And I definitely have questions just from my selfish point of view. So, how do you think about maybe like a split between platitudes and actionable content? What's like the right amount to post? Um, so many questions.
Yeah, so I'll break it down. So I break down all social media I like to break it down into three. So you have growth content, you have authority content, you have personal content. And this is the formula I followed for all of my social media platforms, and it's what I've used for my ghostwriting clients to grow them by tens to hundreds of thousands of followers. So let's break down each. So growth content, that is when you talk about trending topics, trending figures, and just popular things that are top of mind for people. So, for example, Andrew Tate, very top of mind, love him or hate him. Like that's going to get clicks because he has already built up interest from people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to it's going to attract people. So, how might I leverage Andrew Tate in a completely different field? Like maybe I'm a writer. Okay, how can I leverage Andrew Tate's name? He's not into writing. I could break down Andrew Tate's, writing process, or like how he break down his scripts. Or if I'm a marketer, I could break down his email automations to get people into Hustlers University.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm a fitness coach, I could break down Andrew Tate's nutrition plan. I could break down his workout routine. How did he bulk up after going to prison? Like shit like that. And by leveraging that person's name, the popularity, I'm going to get more clicks, might rank better in the algorithm, and then I'm going to get attention onto my brand. And if I provide enough value in that post, people are like, "Oh shit, this is actually useful. I'm going to, follow this person. I'm going to buy their
Okay.
stuff, XYZ." You could
So
even like
memes, Tate, Russia, whatever it is.
yeah,
Okay, so that's growth stuff.
dude, and like even you, like you could create like how Andrew Tate, pays zero taxes, or by arbitrage, like travel arbitrage or some shit like that. Same thing with ChatGPT. So when that was popping off, that was trending. And if
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fitness coach, I could talk about how to make a nutrition plan with ChatGPT, how to make how to leverage ChatGPT to create a fitness routine for your biceps and get sexy biceps, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So you're just leveraging that popularity into your own brand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like growth content, and then you have authority content. So that's what we talked about, where you're showing your competence, and that
Uh-huh.
comes from giving actual advice that helps people solve problems, get to a desired outcome. That could be case studies, how you helped somebody get a desirable outcome. That could be turn yourself into a case study, how I did this. You can talk about, again, popular figures, like how they did this and break it down. But typically it's going to be the stuff where you're talking about direct experience and how you did something, and that's what's going to build your authority. Then you have personal content. So this is your worldviews, your story, your opinions, stuff like that, where it's you. That's what you're doing day to day. Like I posted a picture of me with 7 eggs, like my frying pan with 7 eggs. I'm like been eating 7 eggs a day for the past 2 weeks. Feel like I have superpowers. Got like over 2,000 likes, and it's just me just documenting something like in 5 seconds. So stuff like that will tend to get the most profile clicks and really flesh out your account as a human. Because at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, we want to follow humans. So what I've noticed is when you combine this GAP framework, GAP, growth, authority, personal, it has a synergistic effect. So why do we buy stuff, or why do we follow people, or why do we get invested in these people? It's because we know, like, and trust them. So the growth content gets people to know of you, the personal content gets them to like you, and then the authority content gets them to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all working together. So what I like to do is try to do one post each, try to keep that rotation. um
Like 1/3 each. Pretty
yeah, I
even,
think
pretty
i
even
i
split.
I would put more weight on personal and authority content. But like if you want to simplify it, like, all right, I gotta make one post. Like if I was doing tweets, one growth post, one authority, one personal. But I think as long as you're doing one authority post a day, I think you can get away with like posting about whatever um, after that. But I think the most important thing is value. I think you need to provide value first,
Mm-hmm.
and then people will actually care about what you say. Like, what's the difference between a homeless man saying something and, I don't know, Trump saying something? It's like you're not going to put any weight on what the homeless person says because they haven't done anything significant or haven't provided any value or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, you love him or hate him, people are going to listen because he's done significant things. So I would lead with value first, and then, you know, talk about whatever. But the main rule I had was, okay, I got to post one post a day that gives actionable advice and that helps people. And I think if you follow that and do that every day for over a year, I think you're going to be set up very nicely. And you can repurpose posts too. It's not like you have to come up with original shit every day. You can reword stuff. You can say it in a different way. You can add on to it, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I found, another piece of advice is what I found a good framework to use when creating content is follow the what, why, how framework. So if you're giving actual advice, state what the piece of advice is, right? Why is it relevant, or why should someone care? And then how can they take action on it? And when you answer those three questions, creating content becomes really easy, because you're like, oh, I just got to answer these. Because schools taught us to add as many words as possible, get that 2,000 word minimum count, right? But if you're not clear and concise with your writing, people are just going to bounce to the next piece of content. They're not going to check out your offer. They're not going to check out whatever. And you're not going to grow your account or get sales. So I find just asking those three questions helps a ton.
Remove the very, remove the that.
Yeah, exactly. Fuckers, if I catch you using the word very, I'm going to hunt you down.
It's a reference to some of his tweets, by the way, guys. Cool. So starting off the podcast, a little actionable advice for people there. So you're from Alberta.
I'm actually from
BC.
British Columbia. Yeah.
But you worked in Alberta.
I worked in Alberta, unfortunately, as an electrician. Freezing cold in the oil and gas industry. Super lame. 14 hours a day, 2 weeks on, sometimes 3 weeks on, 1 week off. No bueno.
Is this before or after Pizza Man Dakota?
This was first it was Indian Food Dakota at the age of 17, and then it was Electrician Dakota, and then it was Server Dakota, and then it was a bunch of Dakotas. It was iPhone flipping Dakota, eBay selling Dakota, all over the place. I've been security guard, fucking everything. But
so you went from oil and gas to server?
Yeah, bro. Well, I just hated working all day and every day. And I was like, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So, I'll try serving. They make good money with tips. I can be charismatic when I want to. And I was like, maybe I'll be a bartender down the line, because it might be a cool job. And, you look at bartenders, they're pretty cool. So I was just trying different stuff, seeing what I liked and didn't like. I did not like being a server. I don't like multitasking. I don't like people being angry at me when there's things out of my control. I don't like the always on the move. Like, I like to be more calculated, not just like, okay, I gotta go here. Okay, I gotta go here. I gotta take this order, all this shit. Super high pressure. I did not like that. I only did for 3 months, then I quit.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you by Language Blend, the new best way to learn Spanish. Language Blend focuses on what you actually need to live and get by abroad. With daily one-on-one lessons, a dedicated texting partner, it's like living in a Spanish-speaking country without ever leaving home. Go to languageblend.com for more information. So you've been out of Canada now for a good amount of time. Was that always part of the game plan to kind of escape Canadian winter, internationalize, or what was the original ambition for, getting on Twitter and making money online?
Bro, I didn't know you could move from Canada and not pay taxes. That blew my mind. I found that out last year, and when I heard that, I was like, sign me up. But going back further, I took a trip to Asia, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam when I was 19, and I absolutely fell in love with travel. I realized freedom's my biggest value in life. Freedom to do what I want, when I want, wake up when I want, do work that's purposeful, and just have experiences where I'm actually living life and not feeling like a cog in the machine. And I came back from that trip and I realized I got to find a career that allows me to travel, because I absolutely love it. I feel most alive when I'm doing it. And it took me a few years, but I figured it out. But yeah, I'm really glad I worked this career, because it's opened up that freedom. But yeah, man, like with leaving Canada, I found out last year and got set up with Panama. And right now I'm in Canada for Christmas, but After that, yeah, I'm gonna go to Scottsdale for a bit, and then probably Europe. But yeah, dude, it's absolutely nuts. Just the opportunities. If you're Canadian, U.S., sorry, you're not getting rid of your taxes, but yeah, it was blew my mind.
And don't say anything that you're gonna make me edit out later, just to save me some work.
Yeah.
But it is important that you mention this because a lot of people know about these things, but or they've heard about it, but they haven't seen like a living, breathing success story of a guy that went from living in Canada to location independent to lowering their taxes, changing their tax residency, that kind of thing.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like you don't know it's possible until someone does it, and or until you even hear. I couldn't believe it when I first heard about it. I was like, "What? You can do that?" I was googling online. I went down the rabbit hole. It's like, yeah, you can move from Canada and not be a resident, still be a citizen, but you could just pay zero taxes or lower taxes if you're in a if you're living somewhere else. And that's the beauty with this online business stuff is you can live in these other countries, and if you get set up there, they'll take your money to set up your corporation, whatever. So it's pretty damn cool. I'm really fortunate to be in this position where I can do that. And then yeah, I won't mention crypto, but yeah,
And
you can
and
do cool stuff
beyond
with that.
the tax aspect of it, what's it like being outside of Canada? Do you feel more alive in tropical paradise? Have you enjoyed the culture shift? I'm sure there's been some culture shocks along the way.
Yeah, I moved to Panama. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish. That was that was this like that was hilarious. I was just thinking back on that, just how funny that is. You live in this country, you just don't speak the language. You're using Google Translate everywhere. Um, Definitely recommend learning Spanish if you're gonna live in Latin America. I started taking one-on-one classes online. Shout out to Baselang. They got a good program. Um, I understand a little bit of Spanish, not much still, because I've just been prioritizing learning business stuff. But no, it's been great. I met a lot of cool people, had some really cool experiences, and I just love the freedom aspect. If you feel like, oh, I feel like going across the world today, you can do that. Or I feel like, moving to El Salvador or whatever, I can do that. Go to Mexico. It's cool. And then it's that variety too. Like some people, they like just the same thing all the time. I like, going to a country, setting up for a few months. It's like, okay, I really like it here. Let's go see this country though. I love that freedom. um, I'm also younger. I'm 25, so other people have different priorities, different ages. I just want to experience different cultures and get cool stories under my belt. So when I'm old, I can tell my kids cool stuff. They think I'm cool. Um, but yeah, I've loved it. I've learned a lot. I think traveling teaches you a ton, and it puts you outside your comfort zone where you're you know maybe trying different things you didn't know you'd like, or putting yourself in positions where you got to learn different traits or allow your traits to flourish. Like there's this thing called epigenetics where I think different I forget the actual definition, but it's where certain environments I think expose you to different traits or something like that. I don't know. It's cool though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Talk more about the idea of like escaping Canada. Has that been like an epiphany? Like, do you feel happier? Are people happier in Panama, you think, than Canada? Do you think Latin America has something to offer for Canadians?
Oh, 100%. Like I fall more toward the freedom aspect of things, and politically I do not agree with how Canada's being run right now. I think it's actually quite disgusting. So you look at the whole pandemic situation and all of that, forcing people to get jabs, believe whether it works or not, or whatever side of the spectrum you fall under, I don't believe people should be forced, or their job security shouldn't be threatened, uh, whether they want to take a vaccine or not. I took the vaccine, but I took it because I wanted to travel to the US. I wouldn't have taken it otherwise. I don't think there's a big conspiracy with the vaccine, but I firmly stand against that. People should be forced to take it. I don't think they should have their job or their security put at risk for that. Um, so I don't agree with that. I also don't like how the trucker situation was handled and how their bank accounts were frozen. People that donated to them, they had their bank accounts frozen. I think it's disgusting. You can do that to people. Um, I just don't like the direction Canada's going. I don't think Trudeau is going to last much longer, but we'll see. But yeah, I think these other countries, I think they offer more freedom in a lot of aspects. Um, I think it's a mix between whether people are happier. I find people in Latin America are very open and very forthcoming and very welcoming.
Warm.
Um, yeah, very warm. Canada's a lot colder. People like to complain a lot more in Canada, and there are some more miserable people, but there's also a lot of happy people here too. So it's a mixed bag. One thing I noticed with Latin America, I think the biggest downfall, not downfall, but the lamest thing is how slow workers are. Like retail workers, like you'll be in a lineup. I was in Colombia. I dreaded the lineups at the grocery store because these people work so slow. It's nuts. Or the people are always late. Like it's really relaxed. And when you come from North America, I think you're used to like efficiency, like boom, boom, boom. So that's the one drawback. But I like Latin America a lot. I think it's interesting, and yeah, you can always get stuff delivered for you instead of just going out and getting it, which is cool. And it's super cheap. It's really cheap in Latin America in a lot of places.
Hmm. Have you experienced any reverse culture shock now that you're visiting
Mm.
Canada for Christmas after having spent so much time this past year in Latin America?
Yeah, dude. One thing when I came back from my Asia trip, actually, it felt like I actually knew home for the first time because I looked at it with fresh eyes. But one of the biggest things I've noticed was how much stuff people consume. And I kind of got grossed out by it. Like you look at the minimalist movement, I think there's, a healthy middle ground, but I lived out of a backpack for like every time I travel, I pretty much live out of a backpack. I bring a backpack. I've over the years I've gathered more stuff like my camera equipment just because it's my job. So I got two suitcases and one small suitcase, one big suitcase, and a small backpack, and
Hmm.
that's all I need. And so when you live with so few things, you really learn that your happiness isn't derived from stuff. Your happiness is derived from experiences, communicating with friends, having a meal with somebody, sharing experiences. And material items lose their power over you, I find. And you come back and you notice how it's nuts how much stuff people buy that they don't need. They're just consuming. It's just robotic. It's so ingrained in the North American culture just to buy. Like I just look at these holidays, man, and it's just like, oh, it's just like created by marketers to sell more stuff, like Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day. It's always one in rotation where it's driving more sales in some department, and these companies can take advantage of. So that was a big thing. Like just realizing, damn, we do consume a lot of stuff. So I went more minimalist after my first trip, and yeah, it's stayed true ever since. Just seeing the consumerism.
Speaking of stuff, how do you do your mobile studio? Because your Instagram, you have like a studio set up where you are and you're just
Yeah,
visiting home.
yeah.
So you must have had a studio in Panama. Now you got a studio in BC. When
Yeah,
you're traveling, what do you do? Tell me a little bit about how you have this mobile studio going on.
bro, it's crazy. It's it's nuts. Um, I got one microphone stand. I got a microphone. I got two tripods, and then I got a teleprompter and a camera.
You got a
And
teleprompter?
yeah, bro, I got a teleprompter. It's hilarious. It folds up, but it's called a Glide Gear teleprompter. It's hilarious. It's great for
Glide
YouTube
gear
videos. It's
for
yeah, dude.
YouTube
It's like
videos.
$150 or something. But yeah, that's why I got a bigger suitcase because like I gotta fit like this shit in here. But yeah, it's actually quite portable because I'm just so minimalistic. It's like I don't need the extra shit. Like this is like my lighting, like this small little light. Like
Uh huh.
I've just found these little tricks. I'm like, okay, how can I buy the smallest thing possible just so I can travel with it? And yeah, so it just all folds up quite well, and yeah, surprised I was able to make it work. I I don't know how, but yeah, it just works
Yeah.
out. So
And
that's why
what
my
type of
YouTube videos
camera
are.
are you using?
So I use so I've memorized it now. These crazy names. So I use a Sony A7S III, and then my lens is a Sony G Master f 1.4 35 millimeter, and then I know it's ridiculous. And then my microphone is a Sennheiser MKH 414, I think. It's yeah, and then what else? Yeah, I think that's the three, the dynamic three. But yeah, the camera was like 5,000. The lens was like 1,400, and then the microphone is 1,000. So it's definitely not cheap. I wouldn't recommend it. Oh,
Woo.
I would like if you like really like you're pumping out a shit ton of content. This is your whole career. But if you just want to get started, or you're not, your whole livelihood isn't based off of content, then I think an iPhone would suffice with a nice microphone.
That's an intense travel setup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's quite luxurious.
Who the hell makes your Instagram videos? Maybe you don't want to say his name, but maybe more important is just the concept that you have obviously invested an insane amount in your reels and in your content. You have better. I didn't even like see these Instagram videos until today, basically, but they're like better than anyone's I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. I make it all myself. Just kidding. I don't. I wish I could say it. So his name is Ayman Arab on Twitter.
Uh huh.
Ayman Arab. Yeah, he's a solid. He runs an agency. It's definitely not cheap to produce all that content, that volume, but it's I think it's worth it for me at least, because that's my whole business is building on social media and all of that, and then I can repurpose it. And the way I think about it is I'm creating a library. So if I create a year's worth of content, I have a year's worth of content I can just continuously use forever. So um, yeah, it's uh, it's definitely a lot of work behind the scenes, but yeah, it's fun.
Hmm. So let's just say it works out to, I don't know, $100 per reel or something, like probably a pretty good amount. What are you going to do with that reel or that clip? Like, how are you redistributing it, or what's your philosophy on how it has like a lifetime value and it's not too ephemeral?
Yeah, so the way I look at content is create once, publish many times. So I'm always looking at how can I repurpose content, especially when you're going on all these other different platforms. You need to find ways to recycle content. So this is my workflow currently. So I'll write a newsletter, and then that newsletter will be my YouTube script, and then I'm gonna start writing threads. So the thread's gonna be the basis for the newsletter basis for the YouTube script. So okay, now we got a YouTube video. All right, I can take clips from that YouTube video, post it on different platforms, or I can post that whole long form YouTube video now on X. All right, boom, there's another piece of content. Now I can also post that newsletter as a long form piece of content on, whatever platform is written. It can be a Medium article. All right, boom. It can be a blog article, boom. And then with the short form content, so my Twitter is a feedback mechanism. So I'm just seeing, okay, what are my top engaging tweets? All right, the market is telling me there's something here with this post if it got more engagement than usual. All right, I take that, and that's going to be a source for further content. So um, I kind of have this process, call it source, script, shoot, scrap. So source, I find the ideas. That's on Twitter. All right, put the ideas in a folder, take one of those ideas, and I put it into the script folder. And then once it's in the script folder, I'm like, okay, how can I expand upon this idea, or just add a little bit to it? Because with my tweets, I write in a way where it's already like a script, and I can you know kind of read it out. But with the short form video, usually want to add a bit more, so I'll just add some pizzazz to it, but same idea. All right, so I wrote the script. I'll move it to the shoot framework or folder, sorry. And these are all the videos that I can just film. So I can use my teleprompter. I could just like riff on it. Usually use the teleprompter if I'm talking straight to the camera. So I shoot those. And once I shoot those, I'll move to the scrap folder. So what I'll do is I'll take that script that I wrote out for that video, and then it's a new piece of content because I just expanded upon the original idea from Twitter, but now it's a script. Okay, I can copy paste that and post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn, I can post it on wherever. Same thing with a video. So I can post it on Instagram, I can post it on Twitter, I can post it on LinkedIn, YouTube, all these platforms. So you're creating one piece of content, but you're multiplying it into all these other ones. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm storing the final piece of content into a folder. I call it a library. And then if I ever need content, people forget. People forget you made a post on XYZ, or people don't even mind if you repost stuff, down the line, as long as you're not doing it every day. But they just like being reminded on the lessons. Or if you could say it in a different way or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that works too. But yeah, just finding different ways to milk the content and turn it into different stuff. And then maybe a reel does really good. Like, oh, that would make a good source for a long form video. All right, let me expand upon that. So it's just finding these different ways to repurpose.
Hey guys, quick interruption to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill is the best way to convert your crypto into gift card balances. These are gift cards that you can spend at hotels.com, Airbnb, Nike, and many more. You may remember Joel Valenzuela, previous podcast guest. He's been living on crypto exclusively since 2015, and he's a big consumer of BitRefill. And so I asked Joel, I said, what do you like most about BitRefill? He said that he likes the instant delivery, the precise amount so that you don't have to juggle a lot of gift cards, and he loves the global selection. Nobody else has this much selection of gift cards, over 10,000 gift card options across hundreds of countries. Go to bitrefill.com to sign up, and you can also use the code MyLatinLife for 10% back off your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information. But I haven't seen these Instagram reels on Twitter.
I post them. I haven't been posting it lately, just because I've been creating more. I've been working on creating more. But yeah, I post them usually in like bursts. Like I'll post like one a day for a week, and then I'll stop.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
How
out
do
there.
you store, like, tell me about the folder, because this is interesting, because I think a lot of creators, especially on Twitter, they're probably, you and I have talked offline about having like a greatest hits folder, even just in your
Mm,
notepad or something.
yeah.
But maybe you could expand on this concept of maintaining a folder, because I don't do a good job of it. I've been writing original shit basically every time for like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have different folders. So one of the most useful ones I have is I'll write down the year, and then I'll have these little separate categories for the months of that year. So 2023 July. And when I click on that folder, it'll bring up my top engaged post in that month. So I'll just go to my analytics and I'll say, okay, which one got the most engagement? And then I'll just paste it there. So if I ever need to come up with ideas and I can't think of them, I'll just go in there, get
You
inspiration, or
go
I'll
to your
just
analytics, which kind of like ranks them in a given
yeah,
month, right? And then
yeah.
you're copy pasting them into what, like Notepad on the Mac, or where are you
So
pasting it
all
over
in
to?
Notion. I do it in
Notion.
Notion. I love Notion. It's
Okay.
so customizable. It's free too, so that helps. But yeah, I found Notion's the best thing ever. It's so organized.
And is that
Um,
just text, or can you put like, do you put videos in Motion or something? Like, where do you keep the library?
yeah, so you can put videos, you can put links to tweets, you can embed the tweets in it, you can put whatever you want. So yeah, when it comes to top engaged posts, I'll just link the tweet, so it'll be embedded in Notion. I can just scroll through it. Um, so there's that, which is nice. And then when it comes to videos and longer form stuff, um, it's interesting. So trying to describe it without, since it's audio only, but I have different categories, so columns, and they're next to each other. And um, so I have the source script, shoot, scrap, and these are all like columns
In
next to each
Notion.
other in Notion. Yeah, and in each column there's like boxes that have their own separate ideas in it. So
Uh-huh.
you click on one of the boxes and in it it'll show, okay, what's the original idea, and I link to the tweet. And then below it, okay, what's the description for that social media post? I'll write the description, and then or the script or whatever. And then I'll have the CTA. Okay, if I'm going to post on multiple platforms, I'm going to have different CTAs. So I'll have a LinkedIn CTA, I'll have an Instagram CTA, all this different shit. Um, and then basically have a link where I can post the original video or the edited video. So it's all in one place. So if I need a description, boom. If I need the original idea text, boom, it's there. If I need the script, it's there. Video, boom. CTA, boom. So if I ever want to go back, I can grab one of the elements or all the elements and repost it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's easier to show, but yeah, it's definitely it's built out.
People got to join your program and pay the big
Yeah.
bucks for the screen share.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How did you go from being like a copywriter to a full out friggin' studio video production center?
Yeah, I think so the first year in my creator journey, I just trying to figure out content creation, and then I kind of figured it out, got decent at it, and then I did the done for you ghostwriting, and I built up that like while I was doing the done for you ghostwriting, I built up this big audience of, it was probably like 100 and something thousand on Twitter, and then 200K on Instagram. I was like, well, I got this huge audience and this is a huge opportunity. I got this skill set. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to transition to coaching because one, I really enjoy teaching. Like I was going to be a teacher. I was going to school to be a teacher before
Mm-hmm.
I got into all this.
Because your buddies are teachers too, right? Or were?
Yeah, Talon was
Yeah.
one of the people I taught in my program. It was funny; he was a professor. Um, but yeah, I was just kind of looking at him like, well, I got this huge audience. I've never sold them anything. I enjoy teaching. I have this skill set, so I'm gonna teach ghostwriting because there's just a very lucrative opportunity to make a lot of money, but also help a lot of people in the process too. Because I know what it's like to work a shitty job that you don't like, so it was fulfilling for me. So yeah, I transitioned to that January last year in 2022. Worked out really well. But like the nice thing about the coaching programs is you build it out once and you like it's done. Like a lot of it. I mean, I'm always
Evergreen.
adding, yeah, I'm always adding new stuff to it because I always want to like make it better. But
And
you
it's like a
just
video course part of it.
yeah, so it's like live lessons and like there's the video curriculum and written curriculum. But yeah, it's like live and
Like live
live
Q&As that
lessons.
you host.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's cool. And yeah, the reason I took content more seriously with video and stuff was like, one, it's like the next level to build your brand, and it really nurtures your audience, so it builds that trust and likability when people can see and hear you. And I was like, well, I made all this money, might as well just invest in content because I know content's not going to go anywhere. So I'm in this for the long haul, so I'm just going to invest in quality content and gear now, and it's going to pay dividends down the line. I think because
Mm,
it really separates you. I think when you got like a good ass setup and you're creating content and the
for
quality is
sure.
great, both with the ideas and with the editing aspect. So I just did it because I just like aesthetics. I like standing out, and I think it helps your business too. So I just
Who
was
inspired you
fortunate.
to get the teleprompter?
Um,
Did someone tell you about it?
yeah, one of the guys that does the content for Alex Ramosi, he actually gave me a lead magnet um, that had all the gear. He told me to like, this is what I recommend. So I bought everything he told me to buy. So I'm
Okay, so
glad
you
he.
downloaded that guy's ebook or something, and the ebook said "Get the gear."
Yeah, he gave me that, and yeah, basically just like, all right, I don't know shit about cameras. I'm just gonna buy what you recommend.
How long ago was that?
That was last year. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah. He's a good dude.
Do you feel like things have moved pretty fast, or do you feel like it's been a slow grind the past 2, 3 years?
Yes, it's kind of funny. It's it happens like it's like it's brewing. Like it'll like it felt like it was just slowly, boom, and it shoots up. So with Twitter, like it took me a year to go to get to 12K followers, and then the second year it took me the next 12 months to get to 100K plus followers. So that just shows the compounding effect. Same with LinkedIn. Like it took me 12 months to get to 45,000 followers. And then, it's just this compounding effect. And then you just become more well known, and then you get more opportunities, and then you make more money, which you can invest more in better stuff, more opportunities. And it's great. So yeah, like I look back, I'm like, it's only been 3 years for me. And like, that's nothing. Right. So you think about, okay, where am I going to be at in 5, 10, 20 years if I stay at this? So yeah, it's it feels fast. It does. But I think at the start it felt slow. But yeah, it definitely it's crazy to me. Like
Hmm.
the doors it's opened.
Exponential.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you say to a buddy back home in BC who's delivering Indian food or an electrician still, and maybe they don't believe in themselves? You probably have tons of buddies from high school, right? You're probably making the most money out of any dude from your high school, I'm guessing. Um, do you ever feel frustrated that they're not also, you know, making money online? Because it'd be sick if they could join you for adventures, or what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually ran into someone from high school uh, the other day, like 2 days ago, because I'm in my hometown right now, and he's just saying, "Man, I've watched you blow up on social media and all that." And I think that's really cool because I'm not. I'm showing people it's possible. Like I'm just some dude, man. And I'm just showing I just did shit for a long enough period of time. Um, and it's cool because this isn't for everybody. Like everyone wants to say you can do it, and blah blah blah. But if you don't have the discipline or the consistency or the character traits for this, like yeah, like you shouldn't do it. Like if you can't do something for a long period of time, yeah, maybe you should just do your thing. But I think not anyone, but I think I think people with a decent IQ can do this if they're just consistent. And then like I'm sorry, the IQs aren't distributed equally. There's a reason why there's the potato memes. But yeah, I think you have to realize you get to a pain point and you can determine what that is, but you're just like, fuck this. I've had enough. I don't want to work a job for somebody I don't respect. I don't want to
Mm.
make people. I don't want to slave away while I'm making someone more money than you know they're making more money than I'm worth. Um, and just getting to the point, like you might feel like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm looking around and everybody's got it figured out, or I can't support my family, or I'm not the breadwinner, or whatever, and you just kind of feel inadequate. It's like, well, I can either bitch and complain about it, or I can take action. And sure, it might take a year, it might take 2 years to actually figure this out and get some traction, but the time's going to pass anyway, so might as well learn this thing. And for the people that do stick it out and stay consistent, they're going to be glad they did. They're going to look like me. I look back now, I'm like, that was the best decision I ever made. I decided to drop out of college. I decided to quit my job and go all in on this. And I had some savings. Don't get me wrong, don't be an idiot, but I reached the maximum pain. I was like, I'm not I, I'm not going down the route everyone else is going. I don't fuck with that. And it's at the start is the hardest because you're doing something you've never done before, and your family might be like, don't do that, that's dangerous, or your friends like, I don't know, man, like, this, what if this
Or
doesn't
they're
work out?
clowning on you when you're putting yourself out
Yeah,
there and you got like 2,000 followers and you're
yeah.
like, these are the 5 things, and they're probably like, this guy's a tool type of
Oh, he's
thing.
an influencer. Oh, what do you think, you're a big shot?
Exactly.
And then they're the same fucking people that hit you up once you've blown up. Hey man, long time no talk. I've fucking had that stuff. It's like, fuck you. I don't. Those people are clowns, man. I have no respect for them. But yeah, if you can just use those emotions and use it in a constructive way, it's huge. You just have to have that drive and know it's going to take some time, and not be like, those gurus like, you make 10K next week passively. You don't got to do anything. Like that stuff's ridiculous. And you got to realize it is going to take work, and you do have to put in the time, but it's 100% worth it. It's
Mm.
100% worth it.
I think the friend group can be the biggest limiting factor for people sometimes, where they say, oh, this guy thinks he's van life now. He bought a van, or like whatever. Like this guy like thinks he's an influencer. Like
Yeah.
all this type of stuff, and it can be hard to. It's hard, especially at the start before you get the social proof elsewhere.
Yeah, because you're trying to believe in yourself, let alone the other people. And you know how hard it is when other people are saying that shit in your ear, like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. It's risky, whatever." And you're like, "God damn it!" You just gotta have this delusional self belief at the start. But that's why I love Twitter, man, is because you're seeing it's possible from these people, and they're documenting the process. You're like, "I can do this," and then you
Hmm.
form some friends on Twitter, and you start talking, you're like brainstorming stuff, and you're helping each other, and it's a beautiful place. You don't get that on any other platform.
Hmm. Speaking of accounts on Twitter, so I know you like J.K. Molina, Dan Coe, Life Math Money. Who are some other of your favorite Twitter accounts?
um I don't really fuck with Life Math Money anymore. So he's the first account, he's the one I got introduced to money Twitter. I don't vibe with his message though. I didn't really like his core. I don't like his course, so what he teaches and stuff. um just not for me. It might be for some other people, but I really like Taylor Simmons. Like, he's a good friend of mine. I coached him, but he's a really solid dude. I like your account too. You got really good engagement for your size, dude. Like, it really shows the quality of your content. Um, Laura Costa, she's pretty based. Um, who else? Ed Lattimore is an OG. I
Hmm.
remember him from the early days. Uh, there's a lot of really really cool accounts. A lot of people I mess with. But yeah, those are some that come to mind. I vibe with.
Dakota's
Yeah.
favorite account is Gucci Bucket Hat.
He's got some funny takes, man. I think that guy's white, man. I heard him on a Spaces once, and I'm like, you should not be saying the N word as much as you do.
I think he's from Brazil.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then.
I'm just trying to get you in trouble. Laura Costa, I don't know who that is. I'm trying to look it up.
Yeah, she's more of a LinkedIn person, but she came to Twitter. She's quite based.
Okay.
Very
Any other
based
ones?
takes.
Any other up and coming accounts you like?
I like Thomas Ball. He's in my program as well, but he's just he's actually living in Argentina. He's
Uh-huh.
a American living in Argentina.
The One Infinite. This
Yeah,
guy. Okay.
yeah. And then
Cool.
Mike Bolton, he's pretty based. He's Canadian. He's actually in Colombia right now, very based. Um, Nicholas Bueno, he's not really active on Twitter as much anymore. I think he's more Instagram. One of the funniest people I've met. Uh, yeah, this is solid. I've met so many cool people. It's just, yeah, it's dope.
Okay, yeah, Mike Bolton, words to dollars. This guy follows me. I'll give him a follow
Yeah, he's
back right
based.
now. Cool. Seen this guy's beard around.
Yeah, he's like Santa Claus.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, yeah. You should actually hit him up for your services because I know he's thinking about moving. So
Hmm.
yeah, there you go. There's a lead for you, Mike.
Will do.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad versus Think and Grow Rich. Which book's better?
I think and Grow Rich. I I don't really like Robert Kiyosaki. I think he says some just ridiculous shit. Now I don't know. His book, I give him credit. His book really changed my life and just opened up the whole floodgate for me what's possible. But I don't know if that guy knows what the hell's going on. He's kind of scammy, like in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's been
Scammy
writing that
vibes.
book for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't really like it. And Think and Grow Rich. I know that's got some controversy too, whether that guy was legit or not. But I
Dale
like the
Carnegie?
principles. No, that this is Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill. No,
Dale
Napoleon Hill's
Carnegie's
legit.
legit.
Napoleon Hill's legit.
I don't know, man. I've heard some sketchy shit. Like he never actually met any of the people he said he interviewed. I
Didn't
don't know.
Andrew Carnegie like pay for his all his
That might
stuff?
be bullshit. Like there's no proof of that apparently.
Really?
I don't know.
Well,
I think the principles of the book are good.
the book's very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I actually got the Bible version where it looks like super Bible-y. Yeah.
Hey everybody, hey everybody. Quick break from the podcast to tell you about Language Blend, the best new way to learn Spanish. Language Blend was co-founded by Jake Nomada, friend of the podcast, decade of experience in Latin America, and Jake and his team, they put everything into this program that they wish they had in terms of how to level up quickly with your Spanish language skills. Because the faster that you can get conversationally fluent in Spanish, the better the experience that you're going to have in Latin America. So go to languageblend.com for more information. Okay, interesting. There was one or two more things I wanted to ask you about. Um, One random question, totally random, but what platform do you use to host your videos for your course and stuff? What's your go-to?
Dude, Heartbeat community, nobody knows about it. It's amazing.
Heartbeat
Way better
community.
than Discord, way better than Circle. It's like no one knows about it. It's so good. But for video hosting, I use YouTube. I use Vimeo for like different, mainly YouTube, and I just like post it on that Heartbeat platform. I
Hmm.
link to it, but it hosts everything you need in there. If you have a community,
Heartbeat.chat.
yeah, best
Hmm.
thing ever. Nobody knows about it.
Hmm.
It's amazing. They should sponsor me. How much I promote them?
Does Beehive sponsor you?
No, I
You
just
gave a
dude.
testimonial.
If if I like a brand, I will talk about it nonstop. I'm one of those like diehard, like I rep the brands I mess with. I actually met I forget what he does there, but he's like a big he I don't know, had a product or something. I met him in Colombia. Met up with him. He's a really solid dude. Um but yeah, I just like their team. I like they're super based, man. They just have the funniest tweets and this not super corporate, which I vibe with. I don't know if
Hmm.
people can tell I'm not very corporate. I just like it. I like the culture. They've been good to me, so I like shouting them out.
And I know we kind of been over this, but I haven't forayed much into LinkedIn, even though I think my content would be hilarious there. Like I think it would like shock a lot of people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Instagram, not big on either. What are your thoughts on people, I guess, in general, to expand it beyond myself? What are your thoughts on people who are somewhat uniplatform on Twitter, expanding into other platforms? What do you think is maybe the best first platform after Twitter, the most natural next step?
LinkedIn, especially
Yep.
right now, um, at the time of recording, December 2023. LinkedIn is really great for growth right now. So I like the analogy Gary Vee uses where it's day trading attention. So there's going to be inefficiencies in the market. So some platforms will have better opportunity at different points than others. So in 2020, Twitter was great for growth. You could post drink water and grow by 100 followers. Now it's not so much like that because more people have come to the market. But LinkedIn right now, it's like Twitter in 2020, where you could post these stupid takes or just really basic takes and grow. And it's hilarious. I don't think it's going to be like that for forever, but I think for the next 6 months to a year, I think it's going to be great for growth if you're playing the game correctly. Um, but yeah, I would definitely do LinkedIn because it's all transferable to LinkedIn.
And what would be different? Like, what would people have to adapt? People that know X well and they want to adapt to LinkedIn.
So carousels work really good for growth right now. So posting images and then, side by side. My strategy right now is I'll post carousels. I will also post image, like pictures of my tweet. And then alongside in the description, I'll post a story to go on top of that or to add context. And that seems to work really well. Like people like the
Screenshots of
stories.
tweets.
Yeah, like if you go on my LinkedIn, you'll see what I mean. Where it's literally just taking my tweet screenshot, and that just captures attention because it's a picture on a written based platform. So they see the tweet, and it's like a sound bite, and like, oh, that's cool. And then they see I'm elaborating on the meaning behind it in the description with a story or with some kind of longer
Mm-hmm.
form piece of content. And then that's the content side of things. I'll also post videos like the short form videos, but for the written content, and then the equivalent to distribution, because you need both, is the comments. So you can pay for comments from big accounts. You can get an engagement group. You can comment on other people's stuff. But that's what's going to get more reach on your post because let's say a big account comments on my post. Well, that big account's audience is going to see that they comment on the post and it's going to bring more traffic to my post.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've been growing so
And
aggressively.
so you've been commenting on other people's stuff too?
Yeah. So it's a mixture of I pay for comments on my content and then I comment on other people's stuff because I'm in an engagement group and yeah, that's basically it.
Do you do that on Twitter too? Do you pay for comments? You pay for engagement?
I've paid for retweets when I was at the beginning, like 0 to 100K, or sorry, 4K, 5K to 100K, and then I just stopped because I didn't really need it. But I trade with people, so I'll trade retweets for LinkedIn comments. I've
Mm.
traded Instagram shares for LinkedIn comments or retweets. So it's just finding these different opportunities. But yeah, I don't pay for any retweets on Twitter anymore.
And some people might think that's like taboo or something. Do you think it's healthy to some extent?
Yeah, well, it's like I can put $10,000 worth of retweets on a post, and it will do shit unless the content's good. Like it's not like buying followers where you're going to guarantee you're getting followers. I think that's such a waste. But it's just like buying an advertisement slot. You see these people advertising during the Super Bowl. It's no different than that. You're just using the attention from that audience on that channel, and you're saying, "Hey, are you interested in this?" If your content isn't good, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get followers. You're not going to get likes. You're not going to get any of it. So you really got to have the content dialed in. So I just see it as I'm buying advertisements. And yes, it's taboo to talk about because, people like to think, oh, yeah, my engagement's just naturally like this. No, it's not. Shut up. Or like people think, oh, you just pay to play. It's like, no, I'm paying to get my I view it all as like, I view life as one big game. So I'm just taking my resources from what I've made, money I've made, I'm allocating it to this different avenue to get attention on content. And it's not guaranteed the content does well, but it's going to increase my chances. It's like, yeah, I'm going to play that game 100%. I just like being straight up with it because like that's what's going on behind the scenes. All your favorite creators, most of them, not all of them, they're playing that game, but they just don't want to talk about it. It's like the movie stars doing steroids. Like, yeah, I eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. Shut up, Zach Efron. We know you don't eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. You just pump trend, bro.
Yeah, I think it could help me or people to get out of the particular echo chamber they're in because I
Yeah,
know basically who's going to engage with me. You know what I mean? Shout out like Bowtied Mara and like all these other guys, right? Um, I know who's going to engage with me, but some maybe I could like expand more into personal finance influencers or
yeah,
other like more mainstream influence like travel influencers or something like that. And I do see value in that. Like if you do it the right way.
100%. It's like cross pollinating, right? It's that's why it's one of the most valuable things because you get introduced to different audiences, and you just grow so much faster. Because it's the same. If you guys are have the same people retweeting you every day, then it's just the same audience that's seeing it, and they already follow you.
Yeah.
So it's very useful to switch it up every once in a while.
Is there a good and a bad way to go about it? Like, like I almost think of the analogy of like a website, how people used to pay for backlinks and then it ended up ruining their backlink profile and ruining their SEO because Google kind of figured out they were fake backlinks or paid for backlinks. Where maybe X is smart enough or going to get smart enough to kind of tell the difference between an authentic retweet versus like a paid for retweet or just like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So when you copy a tweet, it will put a tracker link on it. So if you paste it, you'll notice at the last few digits or whatever, it'll have a question mark S equals 20. So if you are spamming that link in all these engagement groups or wherever, it's
Mm,
tracking it's tracking where those link clicks are coming from. So you can just delete that part of the when you paste it into a chat or something and it'll remove that tracker link. So I think
mm.
if you just do that, you're fine. I don't know how they would track that, but I mean I've been doing it for the past 3 years and it's worked fine. So I don't maybe the algorithm will smarten up or whatever. We'll see something with that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Interesting.
how they would yeah. So if you're removing that, that's the main thing.
Lots of actionable tips in this episode.
Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah, you've definitely inspired me to kind of like think about LinkedIn. It's been on my to-do list, but I just haven't overly
Do it.
got to it. I tried like a couple tweets, copy and paste from my Twitter, but I feel like people didn't really see it, or maybe I have to take
Yeah.
like a slightly different approach. Probably takes time to kind of get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to comment a lot and just get your name out there, and then over time it'll build up. But it's definitely worth it.
yeah. Especially when all the other people on people's LinkedIn are like, "I'm eternally grateful to get promoted to vice president at the
Yeah.
painting company."
Let's connect.
Yeah, and then
Let's
you
not,
come
Gerald.
and then you come in with like some hard hitting stuff or whatever, or something like genuinely engaging.
Yeah.
I can see how that it's like unfair because everyone on Twitter is so like quite honed in and like knows what to do, and I feel like on LinkedIn it's a lot. There's like a lot easier to stand out above
It's a
the
bunch of
middle
weenies.
managementers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're scared to post the based content or, the good content. Yeah. So there's definitely room.
Cool. Well, dude, it's been a really interesting discussion, talking a little bit about Twitter and social media strategies, a little bit about the escape from Canada, moving to Panama, which I think is a really cool element that people don't know about your story because you don't post about it that much. Like, I think you posted your friggin' uh, permanent residency card or whatever, your residency card one time. I'm not sure if you went back and deleted that or something.
No,
But you haven't really you haven't really incorporated the Latin America stuff into your content much.
no, I haven't. I should do that actually. Yeah, Lawrence King is doing good at doing that. You're good at doing that. I gotta start doing that more. Actually, I never thought of that.
You haven't thought about that? You haven't thought about
No,
pulling a bit more of a Lawrence King?
no, no. I should do that though. I don't even know why I haven't been doing that. That's a good point. Thank you. I'm gonna start doing that.
It's like blah blah blah. I just made 10K. I'm on the beach
Yeah, sipping Mai Tais.
sipping Mai Tais. And people are gonna listen to this and be like, Vance, you barely talked about Latin America at all. This is what we could have got out of him. But I don't know. I kind of asked, I guess, what I was interested in, wanted to get a little bit of everything. So
Yeah, there's a lot of Twitter bros watching this, and Twitter gals maybe. So it's relevant.
cool, man. Well, I can't wait to catch a Chiva bus with you again sometime, or
Yeah.
party in Latin America. I know you. I know Latin America has been schooling you on the ways of reggaeton and drinking till 5 a.m.
Oh
and
God, yeah,
all this stuff.
yeah. It's been a hell of a journey. Many more years to come.
Are you enjoying Ron Abuelo, the rum of Panama?
I actually, I'm not a big rum guy, so I stayed away from that. I'm not. I don't like it.
You
I'm a
drink
disgrace.
the what's the clear one they drink? It's like the sugar cane one.
Aguardente. Aguardente.
Aguardientes in Colombia. What's the one in Panama though?
I don't
It's
know.
killing me that I'm forgetting the
I think
name.
they drink that too there. I remember
They
seeing
do,
it.
but they also have like the sugarcane one.
I thought
Anyway,
that is sugar cane.
yeah, but it's not the anise flavor one. It's like
Oh,
it's a
gotcha.
more just like straight flavor.
Yeah,
Cool. What do
well,
you think about? And by the way, we are getting to wrapping up, but I'm curious. What do you think about Panama in your future? Do you think you could eventually like buy a place there or something like that? It's kind of weird right now because you kind of just got out of there when all the protests just started.
yeah. I actually went there right after. Yeah, right after it ended. All the places like boarded up. It was like holy shit. I came at the wrong time. But yeah, I might in the future. I don't know. I think it's right now. It's just like a temporary thing for me. We'll see. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. I'm just exploring my options right now. But yeah.
Rent a mansion on the beach, ghostwriter retreat,
Yeah, exactly. Sun your balls together, all that wholesome stuff.
surfing and ghostwriting.
Yeah, straight up.
It'd be cool. Well, I'm glad to hear you've made the conversion to LATAM enthusiast from depressing Canadian winter guy,
Yeah,
and wish all of my friends could follow you in your footsteps. So I'll be sharing this episode with tons of my friends back in Canada.
hell yeah, yeah. Convert them to the cult. Let's go.
Sick, man. Anything else you want to add?
No, man, no. This is fun. Appreciate you having me on. And yeah, if you're a Canadian, GTFO, before it goes south. Go south before it goes south. There, that should be your slogan.
I like that. I like that. It's like our parents, they all got places like you're a West Coast guy, so all your parents' friends have places in like Arizona or,
Yeah,
Palm Springs or something like that, right? Or Florida. But
yeah,
our generation, we're taking it to the next level. We're internationalizing.
yeah.
We're in Panama. We're beyond just Canada, US.
Straight up, yeah. We're going international, Mr. Worldwide.
Is there?
Hell yeah.
Well, Dakota Robertson, Mr. Worldwide. Take this time to share a message with the audience.
Yeah, buy my shit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I barely sell. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. That's probably where you'll find me the most active, but at wrongs to right, WRITE. Dakota Robertson. And I also got a YouTube. I think it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Dakota Robertson. You can find me on there. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I'm not as active.
And obviously, they'll all be in the show notes. Dude, it's different on your handle is different on every platform. You got
I
Yo
know.
Dakota, Hey Dakota, Wrong Story. What's up with that?
I don't know. I'm so disorganized. Well, people have my name, so I can't take it. And then they'll have like "Hey Dakota" on Instagram. Like, I can't have that. I can't have "Yo Dakota" on YouTube. It's just ridiculous. It's so inconsistent. But I don't know.
And actually, I might as well ask if anyone wants to listen to more of your podcast episodes. They're kind of hard to find because your name is hard to search in podcast platforms. Where else have you done podcasts?
Like been interviewed?
Yeah.
Spotify, YouTube.
Well, which podcasts have you been on?
Oh, Danny Miranda, The Future, Dan Coe. I've done a lot. There's a lot of podcasts I've done, but those are some of the main ones that come to mind.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, again, another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. My guest today, Dakota Robertson, Mr. Worldwide. Thanks for joining us, Dakota, and thank you to the audience for listening.
Thanks for having me, good sir.